Yeah. So we just covered communication. We covered branding. All right, walk me through this. I'm assuming with your background and your growth and everything else that you've already got a plan on how to onboard and train 6 new employees in a really short time.
Yep. Yeah. So I've spent a considerable amount of time building tutorials, building onboarding, building rubrics for my guys. I've outlined the guys that are going to train, who's going to train each portion, all that stuff. A huge tool for that, honestly, and someone's going to laugh at this, but I use ChatGPT for a lot. I use it for writing policies. I use it for writing Facebook posts. I haven't written a Facebook post on our Facebook in I don't even know how long. ChatGPT is faster, it's better, and it's smarter than I am. So I've been using a lot of that to help with onboarding employees and stuff like that too, because it helps me figure out what I'm missing. Because I can think about like, okay, we got to get them set up with Java or Google Drive, payroll, all this other stuff. And then I plug that into ChatGPT and they give me 20 more things I miss that are super important.
Yeah. So, I probably spend a minimum of an hour, if not 2 or 3 hours a day with some sort of an AI large language model, whether it be Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. So I get the value of it. And here's my 2 tips, whether it be for you or anyone else out there listening. And I've had guys that we did consulting with that hated it because the output sucked, they said. I'm like, stop talking to it like it's a computer and speak to it like it's an actual human being. If you're not getting what you want, say, hey, I think you misunderstood me. And like literally it's fucked up and it's weird at first, but you have to think of it like an actual person and communicate with it as if it was a person.
Yep. I just read an article that people saying thank you to ChatGPT has cost like $4 million or something this year.
I say thank you to it and please all the time. I say thank you and please all the time to it.
Oh, me too. And you have to train ChatGPT. So I've got mine trained with every metric and every dynamic of my business that I could go on there right now and I could say, write me an NDA for X, and it will write exact format of how I want it because I've already trained it and I've taken those little tweaks I wanted to tweak on the original and I had it keep it. So it's there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad that you use ChatGPT as well.
Dude,
I know some people are on the
Cody,
train right now. So
no. It's again, it's leveraging time. It's leveraging time, right? Like if I can buy back 80% of my time. Oh, we're having a little connection issue. We'll be back here in a second. But like what I'm talking about is if we can use AI or any other tool to leverage time and buy back your time, even if it's 80% of your time on a specific task, it's money well spent, time well spent.
Time is money. The more time that I can have in the day, the better I can do. So
yeah. And it's like I tell guys all the time, like you're getting ready to hire a ton of employees. I'm assuming you're already feeling this, whether you've worded it this way or a different way to yourself. But if you can train a guy to be 80% as proficient as you, that's 100% awesome.
Yep. No, 100%.
Like the perfectionism trap is the one thing that stops business growth faster than anything.
Yep. And I am lucky in that regard. I have I'm one of 6 siblings, but I have one of my brothers that works with me, and he is my right-hand man. So I definitely attribute a lot of my success and my ability to expand on him because who can you trust more than your brother? You know, like I have that superintendent or other boss that I don't have to worry about, you know, taking care of what needs to be taken care of. So.
Yeah. But again, I think the underlying thing that I'm hearing in this last 10 minutes of our conversation is that when you bring a new employee on, you are going to be prepared to make them feel comfortable, to have a guideline of understanding what is expected of them, what is part of their role, who they can go ask questions to when they have issues in site prep versus mulching versus this. And you're making it comfortable for somebody new to come join that team. Yep. And feel like there's a place for them to get an answer.
Yep. Yeah, we've gone as far as making the matrices like you see corporations have, like CEO, CFO, COO, and then it branches out, and we've got our residential team, our commercial teams, and then dump truck drivers. Like there's a whole little matrix that they can follow.
If you guys want to search for it and look for it and all that, it's just called an organizational chart.
Yes. So, I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
No, you're good.
It's just a free little plug-in online, and it prints you out a little PDF of it. And I just upload that to the drive, and then they have their organizational structure. No different than the Marine Corps, private through general.
And honestly, the secret, in my opinion, to a good organizational chart is to build an organizational chart of what you want your business to look like in 5 years from now. And even if you put your name in 7 different slots or 15 different slots, at least you know what slots that you're looking to fill later on as you grow.
Yep. That definitely helps from an organizational standpoint.
Yep. Like you might have to wear customer service and sales manager and owner and CFO, right? But if you look at it as an organizational chart and you can see all the different hats visually that you need to wear, then you can start figuring out which ones have the most highest importance for you to replace first, second, third, fifth, and what your expansion plan is over the time frame that you own the business.
Yep. I have that organizational chart, and then I have a master list of all broken out of everything, and it's literally everything. It says the positions, the team that they're going to be on, and like some of this stuff's filled obviously already, and it breaks out hourly rates, yearly salary, my expected payroll, monthly, weekly, yearly, what vehicles or equipment they'll be assigned to, what responsibilities they have, do they need a laptop? Do they not need a laptop? Like I have all that already broken out. So all I have to worry about when we do hire another person, is just hiring them. I don't have to worry about the back end management.
Yeah.
So, and that's something you could do when you're by yourself. The 2 hardest hires you ever make is your first employee because you're nervous, and then your second employee because you're like, how am I gonna watch 2? But then after that, 2, 10, like as long as you build the structure correctly, it operates the exact same way.
Yeah, and 100%. And hiring crew is critical because you can't hire just on technical merit. You've probably found this out the hard way or figured it out along the way and all that. But if you bring a non-cultural fit guy in because he has the technical merit to run equipment, he can literally erode a whole crew of 4 people in less than 40 days.
Yep. I've learned that the hard way. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of an instance recently. We just hired another guy, and when we were doing that application process, someone that has been in teaching their entire life, like has a master's degree in teaching and been teaching their entire life, got their CDL and wanted to drive and applied. And my first immediate thought when that application came through was, oh my God, would he not fit in with the entire crew we have? Like that would just be a nightmare. So.
Did you hire him?
No, I sure didn't. Not this time. Nope.
All right.
But I did learn that lesson the hard way. I mean, I do not pretend to be perfect. I mess a lot of stuff up. Hiring and employees has definitely been, an area that I have messed up, especially being the type of person that likes to give people the benefit of the doubt, likes to talk to people and wants to be friends with people, I've learned that I do have to put that to the side at times and look at it as a business transaction and not a personal transaction. So there's definitely times for that.
I got caught in the trap for many, many years, and I didn't even realize that I was in the loop of it. But I would start hiring key hires because I liked them or thought they'd be a great fit to work with me. And what I was really doing was I was hiring a mirror image of myself, and we both had the same strengths and we both had the same weaknesses, and the business actually suffered.
Yep. I've had the same exact thing happen.
It's brutal.
Yep. Yeah. There is a time when you change from that, personal interaction lens to that business. Like this is, at the end of the day, it is a business. Like everyone's here to make money. I'm here to make money. My employees want to make money. Like everyone's here to make money. And sometimes you just got to make those tough choices. And like, yeah, that would the teacher probably done good as a dump truck driver? Like, yeah, but the morale and just the fit in the crew, like there's a lot, definitely a lot more than just, you know, can they do the job?
But again, like back to hiring, like that regard, like to me, my new rule, and it's so fucking simple, Cody. Like if I leave an interview with a guy, I'm like, God, I could see myself calling him on a Wednesday night to go grab a late dinner and have a couple drinks and just hang out. I'm like, he's not the right guy because I'm trying to fill a gap in my business. And if I like the guy that much, it's because we're very similar, and he's probably going to have the same gap that I have, and I'm going to end up creating a bigger problem in the long run.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's a great way to put it.
It's like you can start looking at like you got to have the technician and then the manager and the entrepreneur. It's the three key components of any growing business. Who can manage and lead the technicians to like make sure the work's consistent, steady, on point, day in, day out. Right. And that's the guy that does the work. Then you have the manager that can make sure I said that backwards. The technician that does the work, the manager that makes sure it happens consistently. Then you have to have that entrepreneur that has that vision for what's next around the corner, whether it be going from small residential jobs to building neighborhoods, right? Same work, but different scope of work. Mm-hmm. And you've got to he has to have the space to go be creative and look at those opportunities, while the management team and the technicians can actually maintain the workflow for a day. So for me, if I hired another entrepreneurial mindset guy to be my business partner, it never went off the ground because we were both trying to do the same thing.
Yep. No, that's a great point. Great point.
Yeah. So it's just being self-aware of who you are, in my opinion, and knowing what gaps that you need to fill for, and then figuring out how to interview or talk, not even interview, just talk to people to figure out if they really are going to fill that gap or if they're just giving you lip service because they want the job.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I do a lot with my operators specifically is we'll do trials with them. There's a probationary period. Typically like we'll start at a lower dollar an hour for like, depends on experience in the situation, a week, a month, whatever, 3 months. Our new guy that just started, I started him on like a tiered probation. So he was making like X amount of dollars an hour, and then it went up to this amount. And then after 3 months, he'd be off probation making this amount. He doesn't need it. I'm probably just going to bump him up at the end of this week. But I do that because it is, again, if you want to set the stage and communicate with people like, hey man, if you're not going to do good, then you're not going to have a job. Like this is your trial period to see if you're going to fit in with the team and you're going to do good, especially operators. Cause my God, if everybody didn't operate equipment, the amount of job applications and people I get that want to operate equipment and have not ever operated equipment is astronomical. So you have to have those things in place.
So I'm just curious this, and there's two big things I want to make sure we talk about before we wrap up. Not that I'm in any hurry, but one, with the branding and the marketing that you're doing, whether it be through social media, website, like all of that, and the image that you've got portrayed for your company and your community, have you found that the good employees on other crews have been calling you saying, hey man, I've been watching your stuff. I would love for an opportunity to come work with you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%. We probably average 10 to 15, people looking for a job a day that contact us through various sources. On top of that, we don't do a ton of subcontract. Like we don't sub other companies a ton anymore just because I've built the infrastructure to do it all. But like when I didn't have a dump truck and I was having people haul for me all the time, every dump truck driver that would come by would be like, hey, you guys hiring? Like, I'd love to come work for you. It's like, it's cool. It's cool because I've built this atmosphere and I've built this group that, other people want to join, which is, it's a cool feeling and, got to mean that I'm doing something right. So
100%. I've just noticed a trend that any business that has a good brand in their community and then has the structure that their employees react positively to, that they as a byproduct, will get the better employees on other companies' crews asking to come work for them because they're lacking that structure where they're at and they're looking for it. And they hear you have it between your branding and your employees.
Our last hire that we had was I actually paid like, I don't know, $300 to advertise on Indeed, got like 15 applications, and ended up hiring a guy that we were talking about circles of friends earlier. Like my circle of friends is entrepreneurs and people that do business stuff. That's who I talk to. And that's really it. One of my friends that owns another business in the area was like, hey, I had a guy that I had to lay off, a couple months ago. He's getting out of lineman school and he fit in great with you guys, and ended up hiring him. So, same thing. Like I sent one of my employees that I had to another company because I thought that he would succeed better there. And, it works out well, even from the business ownership standpoint, small business standpoint. We all try to help each other out. So,
yeah. Yeah. This whole last 20 minutes has made me just think about like a very simple sentence that anyone can remember and use as a gauge in their own business. Hire slow, train fast, fire even faster.
Yep. No, 100%. 100%.
Like find the right person to fit your team, right?
Yep.
Make sure they have everything they need, which is what you're doing with your back end infrastructure. Like you're going to be able to train them and get them up to speed in a short amount of time, not a long time. Yep. And then you're going to quickly know if they're a good fit or not. And if they're not a good fit, don't say, well, let's see if he changes. Just cut the Band-Aid, get out, and move on to the next one.
It doesn't get better with time. It's like anything.
It never does.
It does not get better with time.
Yeah, so. And who's got time to go to counseling with an employee, right? It's not your wife.
Yeah, we're not marrying them.
Yeah.
Odds are, if it isn't going well for you, it's probably not going well for your
Not going well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that's the biggest lesson I've learned in business is that as much as they're holding you back for your growth, you're holding them back from finding their right home for them to fit in and find their community of coworkers and grow and excel in their business, in their career.
Yeah, 100%. It's a two-way street there for sure.
And if you start getting worried, like, oh, I don't want to fire them and upset them, like I've just changed the script in my mind with employees. I'm like, am I holding them back? Like they've got to be bored out of their mind or frustrated. Yeah. Like maybe they're not the right fit, and when you fire them and saying, hey, I think you can find a better company to fit your needs. Like this is what I think, this is where we're at and this is what's not working. They actually thank you at the end of it because they were afraid to quit, but they know that they weren't happy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I've had to fire a few guys since I started this business, and I've never left one on bad terms, you would think, firing someone that like you're immediately going to be on bad terms. But again, it comes down to communication. It comes down to explaining it, and odds are it is a two-way street, and, it's going to be better for them too. So.
No, absolutely. Cody, there's one more thing that I'm just yearning to ask you, and we can wrap up after this. I hear you. I hear the little one in the background. I don't want to commandeer your whole night.
About bedtime for her.
Yeah, I figured. But one of the things I've noticed with guys that have built the back end that are seeing massive growth, and like there's a lot of room for a lot of balls to get dropped in the air. Like you just got a lot of things going on. What's your process and how much time do you spend a week reviewing the past week and prepping for the next week?
A lot. We're constantly in review. So my part of our CRM and stuff like that is doing post job updates and stuff like that. I look at all those metrics daily, weekly, and monthly and yearly. Every single day, I start by looking, 1, at my bank account, and 2, at our progress from the month. Usually is what I start, just the first of the month. And then I project, into the future. Right now, our projections are all over the place because of these subdivisions. So,
right.
I'm trying to get a handle on that portion. And really what it comes down to is I just need to be patient and wait until everything's finalized. But right now we're a little bit in limbo waiting for 2 last permits to come through. So
Yeah.
I do look very in depth at all the metrics. That's a huge plus to Jobber, is it does most of the work for me. So
as long as you input the data, it does the heavy lifting for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But it sends me, I have it send me a daily task sheet, and it also sends my guys. So 6 a.m., they go to work at 6:37. It sends them a daily list of their tasks, and it sends me the master list of all those tasks. And then I can look at, all that stuff. But
I just want to be crystal clear out there. Those task lists are either pre-populated and automated based on the work job that you've got going in, or they're manually inputted in advance before the job arrives.
Yes, yeah, it's all a workflow. So the way that our Jobber works is we'll have a request. If someone submits a request, it'll pop up. We can schedule it for an estimate. Then you have the estimate. Then from the estimate, once it's approved, you have a job, which is where the meat and potatoes everything is, where I assign who goes to that job and who gets the task list and so on. So
that's what I wanted to just crystallize. If nobody's using a CRM, I don't want them going, shit, I'm going to go sign up for Jobber because it'll actually do the task.
No. There are other CRMs too. I actually started with using QuickBooks. So
yeah. But again, it's all about the data you put into it. And like you could do it a week in advance, day in advance, and then you can schedule it so you're not the one sending it at 6 a.m. And that's the automation aspect that you're looking at. It doesn't automate building out the task list. Every job's a little unique. It needs to have that touch.
It's not doing it for you completely. Obviously, me and my wife my brother are inputting the information that's needed, but you can streamline some of it. Like forestry mulching is pretty cut and dry. That's a copy and paste. Just click the service, type in the price, send it. When we do bigger stuff, obviously there's a lot of handwriting or chat GPT writing in there and all that too. But
and I just want to kind of say this real quick for the guys out there that don't have a process, that don't have a system, and most days feel like they're treading water carrying a 10-pound weight, right? Look at if you start looking at 3 areas of your business every day and in depth once a week, you will start feeling that weight removed from your shoulders. 1, your leads. How many new leads do you have? How many times have you contacted them? Do you need to do follow-up? Like, what do we got to do to keep the pipeline full of customers so we can produce estimates? Same thing with your estimates. Have we done the property? Have we interviewed them? Have we sent that? Have we followed up? They might have a sick kid and not responding to you. Don't wait for them. You call them. And then third one would be project overview. What went right? What went wrong? What scope of works did we stick to? What change orders did we add? Did we charge for them? If you just get clarity on those three areas, you can start to breathe and see your whole business overall if you feel like you're in the weeds.
Yep. Yeah, no, the data is very important. I start with my bank account because I believe that you need to see your money. And if you see it, it's easier to keep track of. The last thing you want to do, and I am guilty of doing it when I was first starting, is pretending like the problem's not there. And like, I'm not going to look at my bank account, and then I don't know if there's money in there or not. I like to start my day off figuring out with what I need to do, whether that be, making adjustments from our bank accounts or whatever. I like to see the problem so I can attack it.
And you have to, like, if you put your head in the sand, you're just making the problem bigger.
And to touch on what you were saying before, metrics wise, so like my little snapshot of the day, we added 22 clients, did 16 quotes, converted 5 into jobs, did 15 jobs for $57,703, and we were paid on average in 1 day. So those are the metrics that I'm currently like quick tracking. Obviously I can go in there and get really into the weeds, but that's like my big wickets I like to hit. So
yeah. And I just want to be crystal clear, like softwares are awesome, but if you're intimidated by them and you don't have them and you're not sure where to start, you can start with a notebook, a piece of paper, a Google Sheets, or a whiteboard.
Oh yeah.
But if you're managing it in your head, you've already lost.
You're going to lose a lot of information doing it that way. For those of you guys that are starting out, I started with an invoice app. It's called Invoices. It's like a free app. You put your little logo up top. I started with that, and then I went to Square. I did not like Square because they do some really weird things with your money if you hit a certain threshold. Switched to QuickBooks, used that for a long time, and then I was looking more for the automation side of things, which is why I went to Jobber. I'm not sponsored by Jobber or anything. There's a million other CRMs too, but that's just what we ended up landing on. But definitely have some type of organizational structure, even if it's just a notebook. That helps exponentially. So
just anything, it doesn't matter. I mean, we went through the same process with the marketing companies. Like, we were unorganized. I'm like, we need a project management tool. And the only reason we chose the one that we chose was because I have a close friend that also used to own and exited a marketing company that was familiar and set up and used this software. So to me, I'm like, oh, I'm going to use the same one as him, because if I ever have an issue, he's a phone call away for free tech support. Mm-hmm. That was my reasoning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no,
because they all do the same shit.
Because Jobber's relatively small. Anytime I've ever had to call them for anything, they always answer. They're based out of Canada, but there's like 3 people that I talk to there. That's it. So,
they're not small. I mean, I'm not if you're aware that they have like 250,000 users worldwide.
But I meant like small in terms of like, I don't think that their business has 5,000. Like, if you look at Service Titan, like Service Titan probably has 5,000 employees. I don't think Jobber has 5,000 employees. You know,
well, the math I've done in my head on Jobber, I think they're $250 million a year company in revenue. That's my guess,
or more easily.
Yeah.
I will say that I was shell shocked at the cost monthly for Jobber when I first looked into it. They give you like a free. I got it from one of my business owner friends that raved about it. So I got free like 4 months. It is so invaluable. They could double the price right now, and I'd be like, "Yep, here you go."
and that's a common that's a common statement from anyone on any software that's committed and invested the time into it.
Yep. Yeah. No, 100%.
You know,
but
so whether you're using Jobber or, I mean, there's, like I said, there's 10 other ones out there. Service Titan, which is expensive, but if you invest and you make it part of your process, it becomes invaluable to your business growth.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about just developing a process that works for you. You know, what works for me might not work for everybody else, you know, and it's just, there is something that'll work for you. And I think, you know, a good portion of that is just being open to new things and trying them out and seeing if they work. You know, we try stuff all the time that doesn't work.
Yeah. But if you got 2 employees and you're averaging 5 projects a month because you're doing longer, bigger projects, you're not doing a bunch of smaller ones, a fucking Google sheet and a whiteboard might be all you and your 2 team members need, right?
No,
like,
100%.
but it's still a process and a system, and that's you got to wrap your mind around. You got to have a visibility thing for the team to be able to see the clear picture.
Yep, systems and processes, very important.
I used to hate them. I used to hate talking about them. Then I realized I had a ton of them. I just didn't realize it, and now I geek out on them, and I love them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, me too. I spend a lot of time trying to streamline whatever I can. You know, I take a lot of my employees' input as well. You know, they come up with great ideas all the time on ways to streamline things. And, you know, I think as a business owner, it's my responsibility to make sure that they're getting what they need. So I listen to that seriously. Like, they're the ones in the field doing the work most of the time. Like, why would I not listen to them? You know? So,
Cody, I 100% agree. When I ran the manufacturing company, like, all my meetings with the guys in the shop are like, what are we doing right? What makes you frustrating? Because if I can make them happy, their work production increases as a byproduct.
Yep.
And they don't even realize it. Because paying somebody more money, there's a ton of studies out there. You get on average like 14 to 20 days increased production until it becomes the new norm.
Yep. Yeah, you have to create value and create that atmosphere that someone wants to be a part of. That's definitely a good portion of our success from the back end employment side of things, is like, create value, you know, listen to the pluses and the minuses. Like, we have powwows like that every week. Every week we sit down and we go, what's working, what's not working, what do you guys need, what could we do better? And And it works well for us. It works very well for us. Another thing that I like to do that I think, well, we'll see if it works or not. It's one of those testers, but like when my guys are hitting their year on with us, I've been getting them a little something. Like one of my guys wanted to start screen printing T-shirts, and he'd been saving for a printer, him and his wife, and I was like, I'll get you guys a printer. That'll help me twofold because you can make my shirts for me, and that's one of those things that when he's having a bad day, he's going to think back on that and be like, hey, Cody spent, whatever on this printer, and he didn't have to do that. Like, I need to do a good job for him, even though I'm having a bad day,
Yep. And I just want to drive home the fact, and whether you did it on purpose or it's just an accidental positive thing, if you would have handed him cash saying, hey, congrats, go buy a vacation, get the whatever you wanted, and you gave him cash, same value as that printer, it's appreciated for a short window.
Yes.
But because it's personalized, it's you like, oh, he knows what we're trying to accomplish. We're doing this. And like it takes it from a normal gift to just like an amazing gift. And it builds that creation with the team. And we were just talking about this with a business owner not too long ago. And he remembers when he was in high school working for a contractor before he had his own business, of course. And his tires were so bald, but he was like afraid he's going to get a flat tire on the way to work. And he was a hustler. And the shop owner took his truck while he was at work and went and put new tires on it and gave it to him. And he's like,
awesome.
And he can tell you in fucking vivid detail that day of his life, 20 years later. He would not be able to tell you a thing if the guy handed him $700 and said, go get new tires.
No, yeah. And that's that personalized value. And like, I do genuinely care about all my guys. Like I ask them how they're doing. It's the same thing. Like if you have an employee that's just sucking, right, for the day, but this is not the normal, right? There's two paths that you can take. You can take the yell at him and be mad, or you can take the, hey, what's going on? We have this frequently. Like everybody has bad days. I had a bad day last Friday. My dump truck door fell off. We popped the tire. Like it was just a mess, Like, I like to ask him, like, hey, this is outside the norm for you. Like, what's going on? And sometimes, and I don't expect them to tell me what's going on, but if they do, that's great. If not, just asking and showing that you care, because you have to genuinely care. You can't empty ask that question, or someone's going to look at you and be like, you don't care. But genuinely caring about your guys makes a huge difference. It changes the atmosphere and it creates that value that, you want. So,
yep. And by you being able to say, hey, this is outside your norm, things don't seem normal. It also says, I'm aware of you. I know who you are as a person. And it just takes that barrier down for them to go, you're right, man. I'm not myself today. And they can start doing some self-assessment, whether they share it with you or not.
Yeah. And that's, sometimes the guys do, sometimes they don't, but there could be something going on. Like I've had it before where, hey, what's going on? Like, this is not you. And he goes, yeah, it's because my girlfriend's in the hospital. And I'm like, dude, go to the friggin' hospital. Like, you don't need to be at
Why
work.
are you here? Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, and then other times, it'll be like, no, like, yeah, I just got some stuff going on. And then, I never hear more, but their attitude changes and their, whatever the problem was is corrected just because they're sitting there and they're like, listen, like he knows something's going on, at least he cares, And you
didn't pile on.
Yeah. It's not my job to create more problems for them, Like I obviously want them to do a good job and make money, but everybody has off days, and it's like if I was perfect, maybe I would expect perfection, but no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't expect perfection out of them, but I do want to make sure that they're taken care of, So.
Yep.
We could talk about employees forever, too.
Oh, dude, we could talk about everything forever, Cody. We're going to have to do like a V2 of this thing. This has been awesome. Again, I feel like we're like-minded souls in a lot of our approach to things. Maybe the wording's different, but the philosophy and the reasoning behind it's very similar. And, one, it's be a good human being and care. And then two, you can't fix or grow what you don't track.
Yeah. Both are great points, and it's running a business is fun. It takes a certain kind of person, but I don't think it requires a lot. Like I started this business without money, really. Like I didn't have money. I had a trailer and a pickup truck, but I had the vision and I had where I wanted to go and I had the drive. And that really is what you need if you want to be successful in life in general, even if it's not owning a business.
Yeah, it is. And it really boils down to one thing. And this is something I've had to been revisiting. So I'm getting super comfortable with my older age. Delayed gratification.
Yep.
Can you delay your happiness for the outcome that you desire in the future?
Oh yeah. Yeah. YouTube will teach you that too. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh.
YouTube is a different animal. I can't say that I've conquered that one yet. We got a couple TikToks over 1 million. I've not been successful like you have with YouTube, so I know you know delayed gratification very well.
And everyone's like, man, yeah, someone's like, shit, you had that video hit like 4 million views. I'm like, I know. They're like, how'd you do it? I'm like, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, not a clue. Yeah,
not a clue.
So you at least have some idea on who Kevin is. Kevin is very into that world. For those of you listening, he's my brother. He owns a big diesel manufacturing company. He will say the same exact thing. He's like, dude, I don't know. He's like, I'll make a viral video and it'll get 500 views. And he's like, I'll make some stupid video and it'll get 1 million. He's like, I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah. And here's like the videos that we had go bananas. It's crazy because like over half the views come from outside the United States. So while it's a vanity metrics, right? Like 7 million of those people will never do business with me. Mm-hmm. And the other 6.9 million people, most of them were bitching about it because we were removing a tree from the side of a pond. And they're like, the fish lost their shade. You're ruining the soil. And what did the tree do to you? And I'm like, oh. So it really is controversial shit that makes it viral. It's not. That's awesome.
Yep. No, 100%. 100%. The videos that we had success with were, I was not intending for them to be successful. They were Helene cleanups from Western North Carolina. We went up there and we did a bunch of cleanup work and it helped out. Those are the videos that went viral, and I was not intending for them to go viral. It was the hot topic, so they did.
Yeah, and like let's be honest, Cody. Like you and I both get this too, right? You cannot have a viral video if you're not consistently posting content.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I don't care if you're talking about Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Nothing can ever go viral if you don't post it.
Yep. Yeah, and we could dive. You know a ton about that. You own a marketing company, but we could dive so deep into that too. I follow, there's always the metrics that come out, right? Like posting between 8 and 9 is the perfect time to post on this and like that. And it's like, what I've found is I'll burn myself out if I do 3 or 4 posts a day. Because I did that for a while. For the first probably year of my business, I posted 3 or 4 times a day, and the content lacked context, and it just wasn't great. I've found a good balance with like 1 post a day. Recently, we've been so busy, I've been doing like every other day, but that consistency, it really, as long as you're doing something in some consistent manner, the algorithm will pick it up eventually. It's good.
And then, and here's my other little tip, and this is back to human psychology, right? Like most guys use Facebook. Let's just be honest. Like that's the tried and true bread and butter of most businesses. It's a social media site, and you guys never put content with people in it, just machines and dirt. And I'm telling you, I watched your channel, and it's you holding the phone, talking through the project, showing the machines in the background.
Those are my best performing videos by far.
That's because you're on a social media site and you're showing people. It's not rocket science. Just get over the fear and put yourself or pictures of your crew where they can see the faces. It makes it. We just did an ad campaign. We did A/B testing on 3 different images with the same copy. And the image, we had an image of a storm shelter in a house or a garage. And then the second image was almost the exact same image, but with a person standing next to the shelter. And the third one was like a house devastated by a tornado with the storm shelter still standing. The picture with the person in it drove 95% of the engagement and the messages for this company. Wow. They had 32 Facebook messages on a $10 a day budget for 14 days. It was like $2. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. 28 of them came from the picture with the person next to because it's social media. People want to see people.
Yep. That's actually really cool that you studied that. I would love to say that I was smart enough to forecast that. Those videos were actually my brother's idea. He said those guys eat up reels like that are just short.
They do.
Explain the project, and I started doing them, and he was very right. So,
and then here's the other thing, whether you understand this or not, but there's what they call the law of reciprocity. Mm-hmm. So the law of reciprocity is like, if you give me something, I feel obligated to give you something back. Mm-hmm. That's it. You provide a bunch of knowledge about what you're doing, how you're doing it. You're talking about we're 39 feet from sea level. This is 37 feet. We're going to dig out this pond, move this. So you're teaching people about how you're going to level that ground. Anyone that watched that video that has uneven ground feels obligated to call you for a quote because you taught them about 3D equipment and being accurate and precise.
And on top of all the marketing and branding, we're also setting that expectation too. Like this person,
right.
Those potential customers are seeing that video and they're going, "Oh, that's what a pond looks like," or "Oh, that's what it looks like graded out." You know, like
at the same they're the time, go-to expert.
Build that expectation.
Yeah,
I've found great value in those little short reels, and they're quite honestly, they're easier for me to make, and it's nice to look back on and have those little project highlights and stuff like that too. So, but we're getting, I mean, I'll get 2 likes on a $500,000 GPS bulldozer and I'll get 900 views on me walking around in the dirt. It's crazy. It's definitely crazy.
It's because you're on a social media site and people want to see people.
No, 100%.
I mean, don't make it difficult, right? Yep. Most business owners are just afraid to put themselves out there. Mm-hmm. It's easy to put a picture of my skid steer or my truck or my excavator, but not me. I don't want my face on it. It's just, you just got to break. You joined the business, suck it up, Buttercup. Put your face out there.
I attribute that to YouTube and my very long years of making videos and stuff. I just got used to talking to the camera, and that's, I think that's helped me with doing reels and stuff like that. But you're going to mess a bunch of them up. You could probably count the ums in my videos. My brother's the same way. You can go to his giveaway videos and you'll hear and it's just like, you just live with it. Even if someone comments and says you're dumb for saying that's still a comment, which then puts it higher in the algorithm and shows it to more people. So it's like, it's a win-win.
And your non-perfect content is better than everyone's content that's afraid to post it because it's not perfect.
Yep, that's very true. And like this industry is an industry that, for the most part, is very out of the tech world. Like at least in my area, a lot of businesses don't have a Facebook page. They don't have a Google My Business page. They don't have marketing. They have word of mouth that they've had for the last 15 to 20 years. And it's like that form of marketing is great and it's still used today, but it's not the leading form. It's not what's driving most of the new business. People my age, people younger than me, we might listen to word of mouth, but like when I'm looking for a place to eat, it's Google, it's Facebook. It's like, that's where you go to find the information.
Yeah. And here's an easy way to picture this, right? Like take 3 circles, overlap them in my favorite Kamala Harris voice. I'm going to say, I love Venn diagrams, but create a Venn diagram where the 3 circles overlap. And then in one circle, it's like on the ground, word of mouth, local marketing. The other one is social media. And then the third one is like actual online presence, website, Google ads, all that. Mm-hmm. And when you, as a company, when you figure out the mix of all 3 of those and how they work together for you, you'll be so busy you won't know what to do with yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, and that's a very good point. I wasn't meaning to like focus solely on one thing. Just is that Venn diagram of right, but most companies, like the old companies, like I only have word of mouth. That's all I need. Yep.
Or the other guy, like the young guys are like, what do I got to do for Google? All I care about is Google.
Well, and that's,
or you have right. But they never tie them together.
Yeah, no. And that's, you have to have the whole picture. You probably see it too in your business. The market shifts throughout the year.
It's wild.
And I haven't quite figured out the algorithm for that yet, but like there's weeks where we only get leads from Facebook, or not only, but like most of our leads come from Facebook, or most come from Google, or most come from whatever, our website. And it changes, and that's how I adjust my strategies, is based on, that information. When I see a trend like that shift, that's when I'll focus more on one or the other. So
yeah,
I'm sure that's something you do a ton, but
again, it's just, and it's not tracking the data where you got to have some crazy spreadsheet. It's just looking at it every day, because your gut will tell you, man, Facebook's really hot right now. And that's all you need to say, I'm going to spend more time on Facebook. It doesn't have to be some mathematical equation.
No, I don't. Yes, I have metrics for that stuff, but not in depth like Jobber or anything. I go off of feel, if I wake up in the morning and I have 8 messages on my phone from Google, I'm like, all right, well, Google's working this week,
let's crank it up.
Yeah, we'll
double the budget,
ad spend a little bit and see what we can do.
Yeah. I mean, because you could get in the weeds and be like, all right, what keywords were they searching on? What was the description of that particular Google ad word? And then, because it might be the service type that you're promoting and the seasonality of it, right? Like,
and
here in Illinois,
changes too. Like you're advertising snow plowing in December. And I'm like, I go through and I edit that as well, and I change or like our subdivision's about to start. Now I need residential work, so I'm going to go back to advertising residential work so I can fill those slots. And then when the subdivision ends, we'll go back to doing development ad related stuff. And
yeah. But it's like, I just learned something new today. Like last year, a septic company, he was telling me that 80% of their replacement systems, so a system that was already in the ground failing that they had to dig out and replace with a new septic system, 80% of those systems happen between August and November.
Interesting. I only do septic installs. I'm not a
but I couldn't. But I'm like, why only in the fall, right? Like, you think if system fails, a system fails, right? But like, is it the heat of the summer in the Midwest that breaks down? And what's the reasoning why fall becomes the issue that all the septics, or is it just the time that it's? But again, it's data to track, right? Like, look into it, follow it this year.
That's really interesting. I don't have, we really only do septics for new installs. Like when we do site preps and stuff for subdivisions. I don't have a lot of metrics on septics, but that is really interesting. I'd be interested to know why they're failing. And I'm sure that's probably a regional thing too. Like, because we don't get cold like Illinois gets.
Right. But yeah, he was just like, I looked at my numbers last year and he's like, 80% of the systems that were replacement systems, not new installs, not riser add-ons, like replacement, he's like, happened between August and November.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
My first comment, Cody, my first comment was, I'm so proud of you for knowing that data.
Yeah, that is like really, really off the wall. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I wonder if it's consistent data or if it's just like a fluke or
right.
Or what, and I like to have that consistency across the board.
Right. But I mean, he's going to need 2 more years to figure out if it's consistently in the fall or not. Right. But
if I were him, I would roll the dice and say, hey, August through November, I'm going to hammer freaking septic ads.
So like, we talked about doing Google paid ads. We're like, why don't we do just new installs for builders and home builders, or for residentials that are building a home, and not spend any money on repair work, for 30 days. And again, everything's short term. You do it, you look at it, you adjust it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, this stuff all requires adjustments. I do all my marketing myself, but I'm an oddity in that regard. Most people benefit from having a marketing company do their marketing for them. I laugh because I help mentor some companies. They're like, well, I did the marketing and it didn't work. And I'm like, well, how long was it? And he's like, it was a week. And I was like, well, how much do you spend? And he's like, $25. And I'm like, all right, let's You need to give it 3 to 6 months for starters, because like Google's not going to crawl anything for 3 to 6 months. I mean, you know how slow they are with that stuff, and then randomly they'll change it all again by the time they crawl it. So, it's definitely ever changing. You know, I'm constantly changing my ad strategy and my marketing, my branding. I'm sure you see that too, where you have to tweak that stuff very regularly. And
that's exactly why, Cody, I talked about, the only reason I know that the people want to see people on social media is because when I built that ad for that guy, I was like, I'm doing 3 different versions of it. And I'm going to combine them so there's 9 different versions between the wording and the images.
That's really smart too. How did you think of that? How did you think to do that?
So that came up probably about 2 or 3 years ago with Skid Steer Nation. So every ad we make for Skid Steer Nation for social media, we provide a minimum of 3 images or videos and a minimum of 3 copies and a minimum of 3 headline descriptions. And then we just let the algorithm from Google put them together and make its own ads, because we're not smarter than the algorithm. We just provide it with enough data. Right.
Anyone that says they're smarter than Google's AI is wrong, because that's who makes the rules.
But like if you run a Facebook ad and you're just like, hey, land clearing available, special through the end of the month with 1 picture and 1 paragraph, and you're like, this ad sucks, Facebook's terrible. I'm like, no, it just means the people that are on Facebook didn't associate themselves to what you were posting. So I don't want to predict what they will or won't like. So I'm like, hey, Facebook, here's 4 different ways to say it. Here's 4 different pictures of what we're trying to accomplish. And here's 4 headlines to grab their attention, and let them mix and match those components. And I mean, nine times out of 10, they'll find something that's actually very profitable for us. It may not be a grand slam, but it's at least a double.
Yeah. You're going to laugh. You know what's been my best on Facebook recently? Boosting posts.
Okay.
That's why I said you're gonna laugh. So boost the post, and then I have my little stuff I put in there for the region and all that.
Okay, so you're not doing a true boost where you just say, yeah, boost the post, here's a budget. You're going into the Meta Business Suite.
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of back end work that you do in your business,
but you're not going into Ads Manager and developing from scratch. You're taking an existing post saying, let's boost.
So I have 2 of those that run regularly across the board, low dollar value, like just they do pull in leads, but it's consistent. Like, you want to have that baseline advertising that always goes on no matter what. And then when I want to pump up or get a bunch of work or something like that, I'll boost these posts, but I do it really short. What I find is you can saturate markets really easy. I'm sure you you can very easily saturate a market. What I like about the boosted posts is I'll run them for 10 days, and then I'll one of my posts from later that week, I'll boost that one for 10 days, and it keeps it fresh and keeps it new. And I think that helps internally. Again, this is just what's working for me right now, and it will change again because it was dead for
right. Now, but there's one constant that I will tell you, and I don't know if you know this or not, whatever else, and maybe I'm a little off on the exact number, but a rule of thumb that we follow for our businesses is that, so when you do an ad on Facebook, for those of you that aren't like a boosted post or whatever else, like you have 2 key numbers. For what I'm going to talk about, there's 2 key numbers to track. One is impressions, one is audience size. So if they show my ad to 2,000 people, but it's been shown 6,000 times, that's the impressions. That means on average, every person's seen my ad 3 times in that group of 2,000 people. So the moment my ad hits a 2.5 conversion of audience to impressions, I turn it off.
That's about where I'm at too. I think I'm like 2.2 or 2.3.
It's it's a.
I got too many messages of like, "Hey, I've seen your ad 1 million times," and I'm like,
right,
that's not good.
It becomes counterintuitive if you're not getting leads when people are seeing it twice, you're not going to get leads when they've seen it 4 times.
Yep.
So it's time to turn it off, create something new, tweak the audience, get it into some different people's hands, find some different interests, age groups, something. And that's the thing that sucks about marketing, right? There's so much data and so much segmenting that can be done today that I mean, it's not a full-time job. It's a full-time job for a team, because you could literally make a land clearing ad for new families aged 28 to 34 with a kid on the way. And then you could do one for this and one for retired people. And where do you finish? Like, where do you end? It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to hear that you have a marketing company, because that's something that like your viewers could really benefit from is having someone do that. Honestly, if I did not have the knowledge, and quite honestly, my other brother and he's spent a lot of money on marketing, so he knows some stuff. I would be hiring someone to do marketing.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, Cody, and I'm not saying this because I don't even know, like, we'd have to discuss if we're even the right fit for you, but I guarantee you by the end of Q3 this year, you're going to be questioning if your time's best spent doing marketing.
No, you're 100% right. I've had that conversation with myself multiple times.
Yeah, not content creation, but the actual marketing.
Yes. No, I have been thinking about that. So
I always, like, Dan Martell has the replacement ladder, and, like, office management, admin, personal assistant, number one, buy back your time. If you're a solo entrepreneur and you're chasing checks and chasing this and ordering materials, you don't need a laborer. You need somebody to give you more time to do the work that you're good at.
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right,
and
hire one.
I'm looking more, do I hire someone full-time to do that and media, or do I hire a company like you? But I also am not, I'm in a weird period where I'm not sure where we're going to, like, because I'm looking at, like, I'm about to hire estimators. Like, that's my job, like, but my job now is going to be dealing with really, really big problems. So,
right. And, like, yeah, did you remember to turn the Facebook ad on this week? Is going to become like,
no, who cares? You're 100% right. Like, that is something that is going to change. It's just what direction I ultimately end up going with it, I guess, is the question. And to be a little more specific, I have someone in mind I could hire for media and marketing that I know personally that would do a pretty good job.
Yep.
But
it just, again, like, the second hire, I always say, though, is marketing, because, like, and you're a unique story because of your background, right, and your family. But typically, it's the second job that you should replace yourself from. Like, get an office admin, get a marketing guy. The very last job you should be, like, if you're talking about hiring estimators, like, that's the last step before sales. Like, you should be the last person to give up sales, because nobody can sell your company's vision better than you.
Yep. No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. And then when you give up sales, Cody, yeah, but when you give up sales, get ready, because it's that really weird thing when you're like, shit, I'm a true CEO, and my whole purpose is to guide culture, vision, and growth, not handle the daily process.
Oh, we're on to the next business then. Cody has other ideas.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I think we just surpassed your daughter's bedtime, and I want to be respectful of that in case you want to go say goodnight to her.
Oh, you're good. You're good. She's asleep, and I waved by.
Oh, okay. All right. But, I mean, we've cracked 2 hours tonight, man, and again, I can't thank you enough. I'm so glad that we made this happen, and, like, we both were able to say, yeah, late night, if that's what it takes, let's do it. I see you being a guest on the show definitely more than just once.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast. I'm happy to share the information that I have. And
well, that's awesome. Well, guys, I say this every week, but you always ask your clients and your customers to give you Google reviews. You get frustrated when they don't. Well, I'm asking you to give us reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever else you listen to this. Click the 5 stars, write a couple sentences. But I'm going to have one extra special request this specific week. If you've listened for 2 hours, damn it, just go over to Facebook. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Tell Cody thanks for spending time and spitting all that knowledge. I guarantee you he would love to get a DM from you in social media channels.
Oh, of course. Of course. Thank you guys for listening.
Oh, man, we're going to ramble again in the near future. This was great. So awesome. Well, best of luck with you and your growth and your team development and these subdivision projects. We whatever we can do to support you and help, don't hesitate to ever reach out and ask. Hopefully we can support you in any way possible. Can't wait to hear those stories moving forward. And for all those other guys out there tonight, listen to this one 2 or 3 times, read between the lines. There's a lot of nuggets to help you systemize, grow, and scale your business in this episode. Until next week, thanks everyone for listening. Take care.